Hello and welcome. Management fads come and go like the Christmas decorations, but some stick around for quite a long time. One of them is core competencies, favourite of many a consultant. Where does it come from? Is it actually worth anything? We're joined now by GIBS International faculty, Dr. Raj Raina. Raj, core competencies, what do you think of them?
Interesting concept. It grabbed the world, took the world by storm, and it is the most reprinted article in HBR's history. It also went on to win the McKinsey Award for the best article, but both in terms of its conceptual underpinnings and the empirical evidence which the two writers, Prahlad and Himal, put forward, is rotten at the core.
Why?
Let's start with the conceptual underpinnings which they put forward in the argument. The first argument they made was core competencies look at the wider picture rather than just the product market. Therefore, it should provide sustenance across diverse product markets, which was in opposition to Portierian view, which was largely looking at product markets. The second argument which they made was that core competencies are this roots of the tree which provide nurturance to future products and markets. And the third argument they made is that, which was more on the side of empirical evidence, was they compared, based on their extensive research, two companies, NEC and GTE. NEC was a Japanese company, GTE was an American company, both in similar fields. NEC grew manifold into the revenue during the period of the study, which was 1980 to 1988, and GTE actually grew modestly. And NEC openly said that they're focusing on three core competencies: computers, communications, and semiconductors, and their focus is not product portfolio, whereas GTE actually pruned its product portfolio and focused on telecommunications as the main product segment. So this was their main argument, and apart from that, they did provide examples of Sony and so on and so forth, which was more anecdotal, but no data provided.
Fast forward 10 years and the tables had turned completely.
Even during that time, conceptually, let's see where the flaws come in. The first flaw is that in a changing market, they define core competencies as the collective learning in an organization. In a changing market, the collective learning actually becomes a liability. As we have seen often with the change in technology, your collective learning becomes a liability. And we've seen Encyclopedia Britannica disappear. We've seen Sony battle with changing market in spite of, they actually gave the example of Sony as a leader in miniaturization. And Sony was taken to cleaners by Apple in a strange, interesting way. Apple actually didn't have any of the so-called core competencies. They also argued the point that if you have core products which you need to have, which you should manufacture yourself, that kind of provides sustenance to core competencies. Apple had none of those core products. They insourced everything from other players, including this insource a component from Sony itself with iPod. So second conceptual flaw with their whole argument is that if core competency provide nurturance to the core products and provide viability, then what provides nurturance to core competencies? So it should be the market, which they don't kind of refer to. They say it's collective learning.
If we put then core competencies to one side and leave them behind, what should we be using?
Let's first look at the empirical evidence itself. I mean, there was Professor Enright who kind of delved into the whole aspect of core competence in terms of the empirical evidence. And they provided basically from 1980 to 88, and they said based on revenue growth, NEC was a star, the GTE was actually a laggard. When Professor Enright did the research, he found that GTE actually outperformed NEC on all financial parameters, including returns to shareholders, including appreciation and share value. Not only that, going forward, GTE actually outperformed from 1990 to 2000 NEC. And what is even worse, NEC was almost faced with bankruptcy, and abandoned the concept of core competence and actually went back to product market. So it just goes to show that what is published is not always to be taken on the face value.
And also very clear that there's no such thing as a silver bullet. Dr. Raj Raina, thank you.
Thank you.